Am I doing introduction again?
Do you have one prepared?
Not like no, I can just flow off of what I did before, but
Okay.
Go for it.
Just
All right.
go, start flowing, Carol.
Good
Start
afternoon,
spitting.
everyone. This is the Nota Bene family tasting again, bringing you more of our 2017 vintage. I am Carol Bryant, the bookkeeper and co-owner of the winery. To my right is my husband and the wonderful winemaker at Nota Bene, Tim Narby. To his right is our youngest son, Ryan, and he is our editor and in-house comedian. And then our correspondent from Brooklyn is somewhere in some corner in front of you, Kimberly Narby, and she is, unfortunately, because of the limitation of what we sent to her, only tasting one of the two wines that we have today.
God, you guys gotta fix that some of these days.
One of these days we'll send her 2 bottles.
Yeah.
So,
Go ahead.
not introduce the wine.
Today we're tasting 2 of our Bordeaux style blends. And I will let the winemaker talk about what is meant by a Bordeaux style blends and which particular grapes are in these blends.
So we have 2 really different vineyards here represented today. And this is one of the things that's so exciting about being a small winemaker, is that you're able to source from multiple vineyards instead of just one estate. And what we're going to do is compare Ariensis Vineyard on the Wallach Slope, owned by Bruce Senzer and managed by Tom Merkel, and Deneen Vineyard on the right, or your left, which is located in Zella. And this is going to be the first Bordeaux style blend from Deneen we've made, and I've been wanting to do that for a long time. I've actually combined the Cab and the Cab Franc in the past, but this is the first time I've actually combined the Cab Franc and the Merlot in equal parts. The Ariensis Vineyard is Cab dominant at 38%. And one of the interesting things about the Cab from the Ariensis is that it's a different clone than the Deneen. Most of Washington State is clone 8. And I've done several tastings through seminars with different clones in Washington State and thought that I really liked the clone 8 better, but the clone 4 is very different, and it's combined with Malbec and Cab Franc and Petit Verdot from Ariensis too. So you have lots of different flavors going on there. It's a lighter, the clone 4 Cab comes through as a lighter, more delicate wine than the clone 8.
So just to clarify, Ariensis says clone 4?
Clone 4, clone 8.
Oh, very cool.
Since we have equal
We gotta
parts
start
Cab
talking
Merlot,
clones.
Cab Franc, and Deneen, we have 38% Cab and 37% Merlot. So like equal parts Cab and Merlot from Ariensis. The Merlot from Ariensis is over the top fabulous too, and so they should combine to make a very different wine. Kimberly, do you have any comments on what you have Ariensis, correct?
I have Ariensis. I actually opened it last night.
How's it holding up overnight?
It's better today, honestly.
Excellent.
Darn.
I wrote down, I did take some notes. Mom told me to take some notes when I opened it last night.
Please give us notes.
I feel like the word I want to use the most is bright. That it's like, especially compared to your other wines, that it's very bright.
Mm-hmm.
Lots of tannins, super dry. And I feel like it's very sweet smelling.
I agree with all that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't that dog know that we're trying to make a video?
At least it's not our dog.
Yeah. Our dog is being, where is he? He's quietly sitting down there?
Yes,
he's mellow.
being really.
He's chill.
It's like a senior citizen now, though, so that's probably why.
So I'm feeling like there's a more fruitiness in the Ariensis than in the Deneen.
I think it is fruity forward, but here again, you tasted it first. And see, every time we do that, the first wine that goes across your palate has the advantage. In tastings, time and time again, I'm convinced that that's the. But
is there a word for that? Is it like first taste advantage?
I don't know. I know, and I have. That's a good question, Ryan.
So what are the grapes that can go into a Bordeaux style wine?
So there were restrictions, and they've just been overturned. So traditionally, it was Cab Merlot, Cab Franc, Petit Verdot, Malbec, and Carmenere. There were 6, and now I think they're letting in Portuguese grapes because temperatures are soaring in Bordeaux, and they're trying to find new grapes that will be advantageous to Bordeaux style blends.
So, and the specific difference between these two blends is that the Deneen does not have any Petit Verdot.
Exactly.
The Deneen is almost equally split between Cab Merlot and Cab Franc.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm not sure whether they have Petit Verdot Deneen. I don't know. I wanted to do, I just wanted to add Merlot and see how it went for a couple of years. This is my first attempt at it, and so we're seeing how the Merlot integrates in the Deneen, and I think it's really working. I mean, I really like it. I mean,
I really like the Deneen too.
and the Deneen has a lot of cherry. It's really,
Yeah.
it really screams cherry, and it's almost like all the cherries that are growing around the vineyard are affecting that location. I don't know. I can't possibly. It's a very interesting thing.
So what's different? What's the different in terms of temperature or anything like that, or elevation between the Yakima Valley and the Wahluke?
Yeah, and historically that has meant a lot, but recently, in the recent years, from like 14, 15, 16, 17, there's a group of these years that Zilla has been ripening pretty much on par with Ariensis. Ariensis historically, Wahluke Slope is warmer, and particularly Stone Tree Vineyard that we source from on Wahluke Slope is warmer. Overall, more heat units are recorded in the Wahluke Slope than in Yakima Valley near Zilla. There's a lot of elevation at Zilla too, so this is like 1,600 feet of elevation for the Deneen, and this is, I think, at like 500 maximum, maybe more like 400.
That's a big difference. 2017, was that the year of our horrible wildfires? And
there
lots of
was
smoke in the
some,
air?
we're not seeing any
I don't-
effects
Yeah, I don't smell any effects
in
or
ours.
taste any
No.
effects in that. So.
We
What
did
would
have-
we
But that's
smell? Would
interesting.
we smell smoke or what?
On the worst case, I've tasted some wines that were made from heavily smoked grapes, and it's like an ashtray. Like you lick your finger and you stick it in
And
cigarette ashes and taste it, and it's that.
Of course, you used to do
that.
that all the time, so you know.
Well,
That's the deep start family secret.
Oh,
Yeah, there you go.
that's it. I used to smoke, Right.
At least since you don't, you have better smell ability.
Oh, I would think so. Yeah, historically. Kimberly, any comments?
No, I think that yesterday it smelled very fresh. Like that was a word I wanted to use yesterday, and it definitely has opened up more. I don't get that sense as much today.
That makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Miss you on Mother's Day tomorrow.
I know, so sad.
Well, we're gonna see her.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
we're doing
right.
another
We're zooming
thing.
again.
Do another video. I will see you. I would have called you anyways, but I guess
Well, thank you.
I haven't seen you on Mother's Day in a very long time.
It's true.
Unfortunately.
We're gonna. So, is there any chance?
Whoa!
Boy, is that a big one?
No.
Is that a drone or is that just a
No,
bumblebee?
that's
Not a murder hornet, guys. Beware.